Welcome back. You like the energy field. In this climate change era, where are the opportunities?
Energy, fossil fuels are going to have to be a part of the solution to dealing with climate change in the future. And this is it's not a short-term fix, the alternative energy space. It'll be part of the solution. But if you look at the companies, you just look at the stocks, they are what we would call short duration equities, which is a fancy way of saying they generate tons of cash flow, they pay hefty dividends, they can buy back stock. So they're very important and very interesting in a period in which interest rates are moving higher and inflation is moving higher. The other thing that's different about the companies, at least in my lifetime, I don't think I've ever seen this in my lifetime, the companies are actually pretty disciplined about capital spending and paying attention to the needs of shareholders, which is to say a lot of companies in the past, they were very inclined to just punch holes in the ground at every opportunity. And here I think there's a more thoughtful approach to capital spending, which preserves their profitability and their ability to distribute money back to shareholders.
You also run some funds, some ETFs that are in some very interesting and unusual categories. Tell us a bit about those.
Yeah, this is, as a top-down shop, as a macroeconomic shop, we're trying to come up with things that are a bit different. We're not necessarily stock pickers, but we are, I think we're pretty good at the macro and looking at themes. So one of them is SAMT, so the Strategic Macro Thematic Opportunities Fund, which rotates among the most important themes that we think in the market. Right now, the themes we're using are artificial intelligence, deglobalization, as well as cash flow aristocrats, which we just talked about with energy. The other theme, the other fund is SAGP, which is our Global Policy Opportunities Fund, which focuses on companies that are the most intense lobbyists of the U.S. government. And whatever you think about that, it works. And increasingly, Washington casts a very long shadow over the economy and the financial markets, and knowing how to maneuver the levers of power is quite important as a management skill.
What does deglobalization mean in this context?
Deglobalization means in this context a couple of things. One is probably higher defense spending because the world is no longer kind of a unipolar world. It seems to be fracturing a bit, and so more countries are going to be focused on their own defense. It also means probably a heavier reliance on energy companies as well because we do think that the countries that control energy, for the most part, are not necessarily countries that have America's best interests at heart.
Fair enough. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Get today's business headlines as well as the stories behind the news every day at QZ.com.